All right, so you already know because you've read ahead, like a great facilitator, that no process is really not an objection that matters. We'll address it at least, but it's not the big issue that the developers think it is. However, to the developer's mindset and your mob, they are going to still think it's a very big issue. So you're going to have to facilitate through this very carefully. And the best way to start is, of course, reaching to the expertise, which is video number 5, committing dash just enough process. And we have Arlo here that can talk to that, but you won't have Arlo there for the mob, so this video is still quite important. So let's go ahead and continue the role play a little bit here and pretend that you're still the mob. Mm-hmm. What piece of the process is really no longer necessary because of the way we're working today in this mob?
Okay. So let's see. So for that, we want to think through the, Well, let's see. Because we're mobbing, we really don't need a code review. Like code review we already did it. So right. That's gone. Yeah. And other things that we're working, like we're only committing a refactoring, so we don't really need a story to tie it to. And we don't need product owner review because, again, it's not a story change. So it's just one refactoring, so we can bypass a lot of that. So we do still need it to go through CI, but checking into main will do that, so that's okay. I probably don't need manager review or anything else at this level. I don't think that there's much, like most of the normal things we've covered by it being a mob and it being just one refactoring.
And this is where the mob is your hack. I mean, this addresses so much of the process from a heavier framework to a lighter framework. Now, Arlo did one example of what a team might do, which is just buzz through all of it and address it as all in one setting. Or it might take a little bit more where you have to say, well, what about product owner? Do we really need it? Well, what about attaching to a story? Do we really need it? I mean, you might have to walk through those. But the bottom line is that by the time you get to the end of all of the process requirements on a non-mob situation, they should be addressed so that a mob is able to allow for this to be checked in.
Yeah. As a coder, I might want to review with my manager at the very end of the mobbing session. So I might add that little bit of process back. Or I might say, it's okay because it's a refactoring, but I still need to notify the product owner that I've done some refactoring in case there are bugs. So I might add a few things back in, but they're probably not going to be things that block one commit. They're going to be, all right, I want to tell a couple of people after we've done our few hours here together.
Provide a list of the refactorings you did and you're done. And this success check is more of a making sure that your conversation comes to a close in a way that you are all in agreement. And that is that the objections that fell within the no process cluster have been truly resolved. But this isn't particularly code related so much as what we have been doing in the last 3 sets of objection. This is more of a conversation of your internal processes and making sure that common sense does prevail. So the next thing you would do at this point is, okay, we have successfully achieved all 4 objections. We have 4 gold stars.
Oh my gosh.
May we now check it in?
Yes, we can check in. Okay.
So at this point...
And I check in.
At this point, you've probably worked a couple of good solid hours on this for the first tiny commit. But the good news is that as you practice this more and more, you will get to the point where it takes only minutes to do a tiny commit instead of 2 hours.